Hey everyone, it's Ten Types, and today we're going to take a look at some more new cards. These are from the Paradise Dragona, which is Surging Sparks. So Surging Sparks is the new expansion. We actually got the pre-release promos, which we'll take a look at, and we got these, which I guess are going to be in Surging Sparks. So this set is going to be coming out in November 8th, which internationally, although it will be coming out in September on September 13th. Wow, that's soon in Japan. So September 13th. I thought that's when Stellar Crown was coming out. Anyways, so it's coming out soon. I'm really excited for this new expansion. I think it's going to be solid. I don't think it's as good as Stellar Crown. I think Stellar Crown's pretty insane, but I do think it is solid. I know some people don't think Stellar Crown's very good. I think then they'll probably think this set's better. I don't know. But this set's pretty interesting. Right now, the cards we're looking at are kind of cool, kind of weird. But let's just start things off. Quaxley and Quaxwell are not interesting, though. We got Quavel here with its attack here, which does 120 for your water colorless and it has 170 HP. To retreat isn't great, but the HP is solid and its attack is okay. And its ability here, up tempo once during your turn, you may put a card on from your hand on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw till you have 5 cards in hand. This is okay, right? I mean, drawing till you have 5 cards in hand is good, but we have it on the barrel in a stage 1, so it's not exactly what you're looking for. I think this card could see play. Notably, there's a Quavel with an ability. Well, there's I think there's a bunch honestly, but there's one that lets you accelerate energies, and then there's an EX, which is okay. It's not great, but it has some really weird stuff going on with it. And then well, it's not the weirdest, but it's like kind of weird. You can just I played a deck with one energy with Quaquaval EX, but anyways, you probably play it with the single price Quaquaval, the one that accelerates energies of any type. I believe they have to be basic, but that's pretty solid with Quaquaval because it allows you with this one that lets you draw cards as this like split evolution line with like an okay draw engine. But I don't think it's going to see much play because Barrel mostly outclasses this. Barrel lets you draw one less card. This draws presumably assuming you have a card in hand, which you usually do. You're usually stuck with a card in hand, but you can Quavel for essentially it's kind of like Beautyfly, which is draw till 6. You don't keep the one card, but then it's not necessarily that bad, but it's okay. This card's not great though, but it might end up seeing play. It does have a better attack, so if you're playing. I don't know, like you wouldn't put this in Chimp Excalibur though, because that you still need to set up a bunch, and getting the extra card isn't that useful. And you never need the single price Quaquaval, but you could play the Quaquaval EX and then Caliber, but then you need all these rare candies. It's a bit of a mess, but it might end up being solid because Barrel, one of the biggest issues with it is it always gets stuck in the active, and it's a pretty terrible attacker. So I think the big thing here is it's a better attacker. You have okay HP, certainly nothing like insane or game breaking, but it's solid. Barrel's HP, I mean, it's a stage 1, but it's just much lower. It's 50 HP lower, so it still has the same 2 retreat, which is, it's not great, but if you can attack with it, it's okay. So I think Quaquaval could be an interesting Pokemon, allowing you to be better against stuff like Control if you are playing Water Energies, which lots of decks can slot in if you're playing. I mean, it's not super easy though, but if you're playing Chimpower Excalibur, you want a better Control matchup, you could put this in, and that might be good. But it's a little awkward still too, especially if you're going to get devolved and you don't wear candy, or probably want a stage 1 then, which this is not a good stage 1. I don't know if there's a good Quaxwell, but I don't think there's one that's great. Next, we got Shiinotic. Morlul is not good. With Shiinotic here, its ability, if this Pokemon is in the active, you may use it, and your opponent's active is now asleep. Its attack is 60 plus 30 until you flip tails, 30 for each heads, right? So attack's not very good. The ability is kind of interesting. Someone said you could use it with a Jinx EX, I think. Jinx EX is a card that instantly knocks out your opponent's active if they're asleep. This is kind of awkward though because it's 2 retreat, right? So there are ways to switch out. The best one, I guess, is a darkness type pivot with the Peckerman EX, which is like okay, but it should either be more Pico or Hisuian Sneasler V, I imagine, but it's not great. It takes up 2 bench slots, and then you have the Shiinotic, and then you have the Jinx EX. So that's just the bare minimum, which is 4 Pokemon in play if you're using that as a pivot. You could just play lots of switch cards as well, but I think this card's pretty awkward. There is like a switch and draw card, which is okay. I think Shiinotic is it's interesting a little bit with Jinx EX. It's not that good though. Jinx EX's attack, by the way, is watercolors, colors. I played an expanded and it was super good in my opinion, except against a few matchups. There are some tech cards that are really bad for it, but generally it's really good. It's pretty consistently able to get one shots because it's instant knockouts. And there's a Pokemon like Shiinook, but it's a basic and it's one retreat, so that's much better. But Shiinook is a little interesting, but probably not going to be that good. This is the next release we got, which shows us Magneton, which is kind of hard to read here, but it says once during your turn, you may attach up to 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your lightning Pokemon in any way you like. If you use this ability, this Pokemon's knocked out. If you're playing in like not standard, if you're playing with an amazing rare, you could use this, but the big use, well, okay, specifically Raikou Amazing Rare, that's the only one, but Pokemon like an Amazing Rare is going to be the Galvantula EX, which item locks and is 3 different types of energy, so I think that's an insane use of this card. I'm going to switch to this art. It is one of the pre-release promos, along with Gouging Fire, which we saw. Chip Out, which we don't know what it does, we can't read it. This is when you play this Pokemon from presumably your hand onto your bench. During your turn, you may something. So it's not, super long what it is. It doesn't go into the third line, but it does something. It could, I don't know. I'm not really sure. It could be some switching thing. It could be some simple energy thing. I'm not entirely sure. It's called Snow Sink, so not exactly sure what that would mean. It doesn't remind me of anything immediately, but yeah, it can't be too complicated. But when it has an attack, and not sure what that does. Also, Magneton's attack 40 for 2, not great. But so Magneton here is with this ability Overvolt Discharge. I think it will be pretty solid with it knocks itself out. I don't know if I said that, but I think I might not. No, I'm not sure, but it knocks itself out. That obviously giving you prizes is usually not great. However, you can counter catcher, so you could turn 1, go first, and then on your second turn, go down 1 prize, assuming they didn't knock you out turn 1, and then you can go ahead and play counter catcher and like whatever Iono stuff like that, and Magneton, and then they're item locked and they can't really do anything, and they're being hit for a bunch of damage by Galvantula EX. You do need a good few energies in the discard, all of different types, but I don't think it's that big of an issue. So I think Magneton's pretty good. You could put this in a deck like Miraidon EX as well. Miraidon EX is solid, but there are times in the game where you just don't have the energies. Also, in terms of the prize race, giving 1 prize isn't a massive issue. It's not like a non-issue with the deck, though. You do have Rating for Ninja, most likely, but then the bigger issue is going to be Briere, which is going to allow your opponent to take an extra prize, as opposed to the normal 2/2/2 prize map they're going to go. They can go 2/2/3. Obviously, there's no point in taking a third prize if they don't need to, but they could go 1/2/3 or essentially 3/3, where you give up your Magneton, they knock out Miraidon for 2 prizes, they knock out Miraidon for 3 prizes or something like that, using Briere with something like Charizard EX or Dragapult EX. So that could become a pretty big issue, but I'm not so sure if that's going to be a massive issue and would stop you from playing this. It's a stage 1 that might stop you from playing it because it's kind of awkward to find. It does have a 1 retreat cost, it looks like, which is fine. The retreat cost doesn't matter very much, but yeah, I definitely think this card's pretty fun. Then we have Indeedee here, which we can read, which says its attack's not very good, its stats aren't particularly good, but Obliging Heal. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, during your turn, you may heal 30 damage from your opponent's active and from your active Pokemon and have it recover from a special condition. I keep thinking it's your opponent's because it's like obliging. This is obliging to you. Anyway, so this is pretty okay. We've seen like a 10 heal, which is pretty bad. A 10 on a basic. So this is okay. It's not amazing. I mean, potions in the game. This is like you can search out with Ultra Ball. It might see play in some niche use case. You could even put in guard for, but it's not great. Its attack and ability or its attack and HP aren't that good. They're bad. They're not unusably bad, but they're not like if it was like 70 for 2 and had 120 or 130 HP, you could maybe attack with it in guard 4 and not feel like terrible about including it. But right now, I don't think it's very good. So I think Indeedee is pretty weak, unfortunately. But then we have the rest of the cards from the Stellar Sylveon EX and Stellar Ceruledge EX decks. And these are kind of interesting. I don't know which ones we've talked about. There is this Vulpix that isn't very good. There's Ninetales, though, 50 to the active for 1 fire, 30 to one of your points benched. Pretty boring and not very good, unfortunately. There are some moderately interesting Ninetales, but just wanted to mention this card is something. It's not like terrible, but it's not the most interesting either. Then we've seen Ho-Oh or Koyo. I don't know if we've seen 30 for 1 or attach up to 2 basic fires. Basic energy from your discard to one of your bench Pokemon for 1 fire. That's okay. We've seen Ceruledge EX as well. I've talked about that a few times. We'll probably talk about it again before the set releases, but not right now. Registeel, though. Registeel is pretty interesting because there is the Reggie's deck, and for Metal Colorless, it does Raging Hammer 60, 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Of course, it probably won't have damage on it, and if this did 70, I think it would be pretty good because it's in the Reggie's deck. Reggie's, all the attackers are, well, they're not all 3 energies, and they do have attacks that are like 1 energy, but they're pretty bad, or at least not good in terms of damage. The one like recovers a trainer, which is a pretty good attack, but not necessarily for early game pressure. But 60 damage here could be like it's one-shotting stuff like Pidgey, or yeah, I mean, there is a Charmander one-shot, but people aren't playing that Charmander because it gets one-shotted by 60 damage, right? By Registeel, but more importantly, stuff like Dragapult EX and Dragapult EX copied by which is Jacob V-Star, I guess. But Registeel is okay as a 2 energy attacker in the Reggie stack. It's not a super great card in general, but I do think Registeel has the potential to end up seeing play because of the Reggie stack. The Reggie stack also is going to get more interesting in the future with the new Stadium Area Zero Underdepths, allowing you to do some weird, really complicated combos that could be really powerful. We've seen Perfect Mixture. We have not seen Maintained here, which is 50 Snipe for 2. Not really that good. Pretty underwhelming, unfortunately. So, yeah. We have Zapdos, which does 20, 10 more for each damage counter on your points active. I don't know if we've seen this, but this is okay. We've seen lots of attacks like this, but it does have 110 HP and a fighting resistance, so could be okay if your opponent is doing some like fighting deck. It's not great, but it's an option, and its attack's not like terrible. It's not very good though. Then we have this new Xerneas, which was on the like front. If you look at the Pokebeach main page, it's on there and does 130 for 3, not very good, or 30 for 2 and heal 30 from himself. We have this Oricorio, similar to the other one. It's Psychic type, but same first attack and the second attack, 20 Confusion, Hail Mary style attack, not great. Then we have Snorlax, which is the last card that might be new. Draw 2 for 1 colorless, or you do, and 20, and then also Mega Punch, which is 100 for 3 colorless, and has 3 retreat as well. Normally you see 4 retreat. So 150 HP, not like a terrible Pokemon, but not one that's going to end up seeing play either. And I think that's it for today's video, though. The new reveals aren't anything crazy, unfortunately. I mean, we have cards like, what's the other deck? We have stuff like, I don't know. I thought there were some other cards that weren't shown here. I mean, we have like Crispin, and I don't know, and Boss Soldiers are obviously good cards, and the Ace Specs are like pretty cool, and Terra Orb too. Oh, Mimikyu showing up in this list. This other one plays. Oh, we got a new Charcadet as well. Oh, we got Knocked Owl, which searches for trainers. So some pretty solid cards, but they're not new cards. But yeah, anyway, that's all for today's video, though. I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking and subscribing, and hopefully there will be some more new news as well about the pre-release promos of Stellar Crown. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to be. I think it's probably going to be Veluza or Crabominable. They're kind of the same. It'll end up being, I'm trying to think what the other ones are, because the set's pretty interesting. Let's take a quick look, because I am interested in seeing this. And so it could be Credillion, it could be Lydian. It's probably going to be, I could see it being Salazzle. It's not like completely out of the picture for me. I think we'll end up seeing, could be Drifloon. I don't think it's Drifloon. Someone's saying Iron Boulder online, but I don't think it's that. I think it'll be, honestly, I'm not sure. Like Viperia is interesting. I think it'll be Klinklang. I think it'll be Klinklang, Veluza / Crabominable, Fanrotom or like Knocked Owl or something, or Bouffalinus. One of those 3, like they're all gonna be in a package together, but it'll be those 3, one of those 3. I don't know if it'll include all of them, but it probably will. And I'll say Knocked Owl. And then the 4th one's probably gonna be, it's really a toss up. I'm not super familiar with what cards end up becoming pre-release promos, but I'll say, I have heard people say Joltik as well. I don't think it'll be Joltik though. I'll say Drifloon. Drifloon's like funny. It could be a wide variety of other things though. But anyways, that's all for today's video though. I hope you enjoy. Consider liking, subscribing, hit the bell, and join the channel as well if you want to support me. But I hope you enjoyed. And as I said, see you in the next video.